Hi, hi everyone. Welcome back to my series of lectures. Today, the one more course I started is problem solving using C. In this video, we'll be discussing introduction to computer and programming language. In this course, the first series we will be discussing more on the fundamental. The subsequent videos will be seeing some of the more deeper inside of the problem solving skill. Right. So before starting any course, let us understand that will be the fundamental step or fundamental knowledge for any programming language. The what is computer? The computer is a word is a compute means is to calculate. That means computer name it indicate it is you have to calculate the any mathematical functions. That means it is a compute means you have to calculate. In other words, you can say the computer is an electronic device that can perform arithmetic operation at high speed. Just like us, it will not perform. We will take some time to perform any calculation, but machine will not like that. It will compute it at a fraction of second, and also it can process a data. Any pictures you wanted to process it, and sound and graphics. Any kind of data it can process it or calculate the accordingly input as given it. It can also solve highly complicated problems which is not possible from the human beings and accurately. The major advantage of using a computers, there is a speed. First of all, it is LB speed. It can calculate millions of expression within the fraction of second. Then storage. It can store the large amount of data using various storage devices. Right? Then accuracy. It can perform the computation at very high speed without any mistakes. Any human being can make a mistake. Accuracy it may be mislead it so while solving a problems, but machine will not like that. It will give the accuracy without making any mistake. That is the main advantage of using computer. The first three is speed, storage and accuracy. Another advantage of using a computer is reliability. That means information stored in a computer is available after years in some form. It works for 24 hours without any problem as it does not feel tiredness. Right. Today you have stored this information. If whatever the video I have done today, it could be used after 100 years. It will not be tied by any computer. It can safely stored in the hard disk or in the memory. That is called reliability. This is the major advantage of using computer. Okay. Another advantage is automation. Once the task is created in computer, it can be easily repeatedly performed again by single click whenever you want it. It is automatically does this work. Need not to worry about any of the intervention of human being or any other task, right? Any other instruction from the users, right? It will does according to what task is assigned it. These are the major advantage of using a computer, right? Another point is it will not does only the single task, it does the multiple task in a single time. It can perform more than one task or operation simultaneously. Human being can do it one task at a time, but machine or computer cannot do it. It can do it multiple tasks simultaneously, right? That will be the major advantage of using the computer, right? it may be there is a multiple advantages, there may be some disadvantage also will be there. Let us see one of them. So lack of intelligence. Suppose any computer, whatever the application written it will be only applicable to the one, that application. It will not be use it same intelligence for other work. It cannot think while doing a work. So it does not have a natural intelligence. So natural intelligence is not having it like a human being, but it is does the work accurately based on the what intelligence you feed it to the computer. It cannot think about properness, correctness, or effective of the work it is doing, right? So another disadvantage, unable to work correct mistake, unable to correct the mistakes. It will not correct itself, right? So you have to be correct after it indicates some of the correction mistakes are in the computer or applications or a program. You need to find out the mistakes and correct the program, and again you have to run it. So but the computer cannot correct mistake by itself. So if you have to provide a wrong or incorrect data, then it will produce a wrong result or perform a wrong calculation. These are the major disadvantages. Okay, so once hope you understand this concept, let us see the how computer look like. Better you have to understood that you can picturize this computer, what all part of the computer will have it, right? What are the parts having it, right? So it is a pictorial representation of computer which shows how it works inside, how it works inside. It shows how computer works from feeding or inputting a data to getting result. And so that means we have to feeding a input to the computer. So there is you should have the input section. What is input section? Input section have a mouse. You can input a data through the mouse, or you can input a data through keyboard. Right. Obviously, once input has fed it to the system, so what is that? There is a brain. So central, what do you call this? A CPU, a central processing unit. Under that, you can also call a control unit. So we have control in, there may be computation required, that is a arithmetic and logical unit, and have a, so the control unit having a connection with the arithmetic and logical unit, and also whatever the process the data, you have to be store it inside the memory. So that also required, that is called primary memory. So that is RAM and ROM. So these are the primary memory. So which will be used for the temporary basis while you are doing a process, and also we have a secondary memory. So there is another memory, if you wanted to store it, it is interconnected. That will be discussed after discussion of the output section. Outputs, once the data is processed by central processing unit, that will the process result will be displayed to the user. How to do that? So you have to use the monitor, that is called output units. Monitor and printer, it could be any of the kind things will be usable display to the user, right? So as you told, there is secondary memory. I wanted to store the data for a longer period, so then you can use the secondary memory. That is, it could be hard disk or pen drive, any kind of things, so you can use it. This also it is have a connection with the CPU, central processing unit. So this is overall picture of block diagram. You can expect this kind of questions in your exam. Please you have to concentrate. So don't mug up the things. You have to picturize the each block of what are the block will have it. It can have a input section. Input section, daily life you are using what input, what is the input is given to the system by using the mouse or keyboard, and how that process it, that processing unit is called as a central processing unit, CPU. And under that inside the central CPU we have a control unit. It is interconnected with the logical units and arithmetical for operations. So this while processing arithmetical logical operation, you should have some primary memory, that is called as a RAM and ROM. right? So then when you process it, if you want to store the data for a longer period where it required the secondary memory called hard disk and pen drive, then finally you have to display to the user where you have to require, that is output section. So this section it can have monitor and printer. This is the picturize it. Yeah, easy to write your own word. So need not to mug up it, just you have to picturize the entire block diagram. So can able to answer each one of them. Right? So we'll say take one after the other. What is the first part of the computer is called input section. As you told, I explained already. I'll just have to read it, that is for your for your purpose. I'll be written some of the point here, right? This point is useful for you people to remember the things. So device used to store a data into computer system called input device. So what are the input devices you're using? So that means this input device, it convert human understandable input to the computer control data. That is, CPU accept the information from the user through input device. Example, mouse, keyboard, touch screen, joystick, so on, right? So this is the input section. Let us move to the other part of the computer is called output section. So as you see in the previous slide, there is the one part of it, your block diagram computer is output section, which you can, this device used to send the information to the outside world from the computer is called output devices, right? This device, the major task of the device, this monitor, right, is convert data stored in ones and zeros inside the CPU in a computer to human understandable information. Just what are the output devices are using here? Monitor, printer, plotter, right? Speakers. So many more are, right? So block diagram, so central part of the computer is called CPU, as you seen in the block diagram, central processing unit. So first it contains an electronic circuit, that is the just like a circuits, electronic circuit inside. If you open it any CPU, you would have been seen already. So all these have a electronic devices. Each one of them it does its own task that processes data based on the instruction given by the user. It also controls the flow of data from beginning to top, right? Beginning to end, right? How data can be control it. Also known as the, as you told, there is a brain of the computer. A CPU can also called as a brain of the computer. CPU usually consisting of arithmetical unit, that is called ALU, which does all the arithmetic calculations such as add, subtract, multiply, compare, and also it takes some logical decision, right? And it takes a data from memory unit and return a data to memory unit, generally primary memory, that is random access memory, RAM, random access memory, right? So control unit also comes into picture here. It all the data has to control by control unit. It controls all other units in the computer system, manages all the operation as such as reading an instruction and storing a data to the memory, or read it and write it to the memory. All it will control by control unit. So what is primary memory? As you told, it also is a main memory, also known as a main memory. Usually the processor or the CPU directly stores the data, store or retrieve information from in it. Generally, executing a program and data are stored in the primary memory. While processing a data, usually the data or a programs is generally stored in the primary memory, not in the secondary memory. After execution, these data I can store it for a longer period. You have to use the secondary memory. The main memory will use it for only processing a data while you are processing a execution of your program or any kind of applications. That data will intermediate store data will be stored it in the primary memory, right? So let us move to the secondary memory. As you told, once you understand the primary memory, what will be the secondary memory? as you told, that is also called as auxiliary memory or external memory. Hard disk you can call as a external memory, pen drive also external memory. All this comes under the secondary memory. So it is used for permanently, as you told, you can for even 100 years, whatever data today has recorded this video, you can use it for after 100 years, right? Safely can store it in the secondary memory, right? So store data permanently. It can be modified easily whenever you want it. So it can store larger data as compared to the primary memory. That nowadays it is available in terabytes, right? So usually can store that disk, flop disk, CD, all this all now nowhere is using a CD, DVD, all this, right? We are using now hard disk in a SSD hard disk, right? In terms of terabyte.